Ready.
I go like to answer. Yeah, man. I go like to. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I go like yeah, ready or no?
As soon as see if I can find a video that would have good. As soon as the 9:30 light now, it will just come so and go so.
Okay. Wala. Hindi mo nagsiba sabi niyo. So, in 5 minutes, so we're starting now. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Good morning, everyone. I was just enjoying that musical interlude, but we do want to make a start. So I want to welcome you all to this our Youth Innovation and Transformation session of our Intellectual Property Week 2022. Our theme this year for IP Week is IP and Youth Innovating for a Better Future. And this is what we want to be promoting here at JIPO, the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office. And we want to show how intellectual property can be used, by all and sundry, and especially by the youth, to be able to create opportunities for themselves, create opportunities for the nation, and of course to add to the benefit and to serve the needs of the society at large. So we see this as an important topic this week, and we're very pleased to have you here with us this morning. I am Dr. Marcus Goff. I'm the Deputy Director of Legal Counsel here at JIPO, and I'll be the moderator for you this morning. So sincere apologies for this late start. We just wanted to make sure we had everyone on board and gave those the opportunity to join us when we have had a little delay. So we have a very interesting lineup of speakers. As the theme says, it's youth innovation and transformation. And we're talking about, of course, upliftment, talking about through creativity, and of course, we're talking about economic advancement, right, for youth. And so we want to welcome our speakers here who have this morning with us. We have Miss Bernando Carr from the Jamaica 4-H Club. Of course, we thank the 4-H Club for their support of this IP week. We have Mrs. Janelle Foster Fennell, the Young Entrepreneurs Association of Jamaica. And we have Miss Adrienne Thompson, our trademarks, designs and geographical indications manager at JIPO. Miss Natalie Joyne from the Development Bank of Jamaica. So a very sturdy lineup, one can say, looking at different aspects of innovation and see how we can engage and empower youth, right, through these means. So I'm going to introduce our first speaker then. I'll get right into the program. We will, of course, have time for questions and answers with the interactive session with you who are here with us, and others who will join this morning. So I'm going to introduce our first speaker, who is Ms. Bernando Carr from the Jamaica 4-H Club. Ms. Carr is the Training and Placement Coordinator at the Jamaica 4-H Clubs. She's a trained teacher with over 20 years of teaching experience. She's a native of Hanover, holds a master's degree in human resource management, as well as educational leadership, respectively from the Universidad Isabel in Spain and the Connecticut State University in the USA. She also holds a Bachelor of Science degree in primary education from the Northern Caribbean University and a diploma in teaching from the Sam Sharp Teachers College. Mrs. Carr is currently employed in the 4-H Club as a training and placement coordinator. She's also the coordinator of the Jamaica 4-H Club Tractor Operation and Maintenance Program, which is conducted at the Denby 4-H Training and Production Center in Clarendon. She's an entrepreneur also. She's on several boards of government entities, including primary and high schools. She's a strong believer in volunteerism and community projects for sustainable agriculture and care of children and the elderly. So we're very pleased to have with us, Justice of the Peace, Mrs. Bernando Carr. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Very good. Very good. Thank you for joining us this morning. I'm looking forward to your presentation. And of course, to hear
thank you. All right. Good morning, everyone. Am I allowed to share my screen?
Yes, you should be able to share your screen. If not, could we please give Mrs. Carr access?
Okay, good morning again, everyone. As you've heard, my name is Bernando Carr, Training and Placement Coordinator of the Jamaica Forge Club. My task this morning, just to give you a synopsis about the Jamaica Forge Club, what we offer, and how we are able to empower youth in agriculture. All right, so about the Jamaica Forge Club. The Jamaica Forge Club was established in April 1940 through a merger between the juvenile arm of the Jamaica Agriculture Society, right? The Jamaica Forage Club is the youth arm of the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries. And we know time to time persons may say that, yeah, it's just a club, but you'd need to get to know the Jamaica Forage Club and what we have to offer. Right? The organization supports youth ages 5 to 35 years through training in agriculture and fisheries, value-added agriculture, adaptive technologies, climate change management, leadership, social skills, and throughout our entrepreneurship program. Our mission is to empower youth through agriculture and related activities using adaptive strategies to create wealth and while contributing to national development. Our vision is to become the youth hub for agricultural excellence. And I am sure by now you would recognize that most of what we do is agriculture related, right? And in our mission, when we speak about wealth, persons get enthused, want to know about wealth and wealth creation. And so we are big in wealth creation. All right, so our training areas, in our training areas, we look at agriculture, agri-processing, tractor operation and maintenance, leadership, and our environmental awareness. I'll just give you synopsis under each area. So under our agricultural programs, we encourage and empower our youth to adopt best practices in crop production and livestock production, right? So under livestock production, we train persons in broiler production, apiculture, beekeeping, goat and rabbit care management, and the list goes on. In our agri-processing, I know persons know for it for or agri-processing areas, value addition, right? Creating those value, we call it value chaining, where we tend to transform those fruits and vegetables. Sometimes, in Jamaica, we have a lot of mangoes, a lot of apples. So we here at the Jamaica Forage Clubs, we don't sit by and watch those products go to waste. We empower our youth to get in the habit of finding innovative and creative ways to use those products. So we tend to move them from one stage into another stage where we look at jam production, we look at sauces, we look at wines, we look at liqueurs, we look at preserving some of our vegetables, right? So, and as I said, the list goes on. Under the tractor operation and maintenance program that we have at Denby, this program is second to none in Jamaica. We offer high standard quality training in our tractor operation and maintenance, right? Not only do you get a HART level 2 NVQJ level certificate, but you also have that opportunity to obtain a tractor driver's license. And getting one of those is kind of hard, so to speak, right? You also get a master level certificate from this prestige organization of the Jamaica Forage Clubs, right? So we tend to put a lot of different things in a package where persons can be empowered and motivated to create wealth for themselves. When we look under leadership, we are high in developing the holistic individual. So we not just train you with your skills, but we help you to become good leaders and role models, whether in your own enterprise, in your own community, or in your workplace. So we tend to facilitate that aspect as well. Environmental awareness. The environment is everywhere. It is in everything that we do. And so we tend to train persons to take care of the environment, look at different ways how we can preserve, our environment. And as I said earlier, we look at ages, age 5 to 35 years, right? So we want to groom persons from early that, our environment is important and they can learn, how to develop and to grow not to grow our economy while preserving the environment. If you look on the other side of my screen, you will see the training types that we offer. We offer our stimulatory training. So our stimulatory training is pretty simple. From time to time, we would offer training in all the different areas that we would have on the left-hand side, right? Our mastery level training, as I alluded to earlier, it's a little more advanced. So we move you from stimulatory, like it's just introducing you to this particular area, but we develop now a level where persons can now advance under this mastery level now. A lot of persons are clamoring to be a part of this program because at the end of it, you will get your master level certificate that you can add to your resume. It puts you a cut above other persons would have not had this particular certificate, right? And again, the master level certificate can be garnered through our agriculture programs, agri-processing, as I mentioned, and also when you do the tractor operation and maintenance program. I am sure you persons who are listening, I am sure you want to be a part of this program, right? So it's pretty easy. If you can visit our website and or visit our 4-H parish office and you can get additional information. Or empowerment program that we have, right? This is now our biggie at the Jamaica 4-H clubs. We are big, and I heard our moderator mention empowerment. We are big on empowering youth, especially youth in agriculture, those persons who want to come into the agriculture sector. We are here. We train them in empowerment, in our empowerment program. And I will go a little bit more as we proceed in the presentation. We also foster scholarship, grants, and bursaries. So not because we are a training organization, we look for continuous development of our clubites, right? So let me start with the Rio Tinto Agriculture Scholarship, or Rio Tinto Agriculture Scholarship. Last year, we would have supported over 300 agriculture students, right, in Jamaica. And I can tell you, I stand firmly to say that we are one of the largest organizations. We are one of the organization that provides the largest scholarship in Jamaica. And I think if you want, you can go and check it out. Nowhere else you will find an organization that is providing support for 300 persons in one single year. Now, this program is facilitated in 3 parishes, though: St. Anne, St. Catherine, and Manchester, right? So if we have students studying agriculture in any one of these parishes or living in these parishes,
Mrs. Carr, okay.
you're hearing me now?
Yes, we are.
Are you hearing me now? Because
yes.
I just thought we are.
Yes, you chipped out for a little while. You went on mute for a little while, but we're hearing you now.
So should I start back from this slide?
Yes, you could do
should
that.
Should I go back from this slide or?
Yes.
All right, great. All right, so as I was saying earlier, with our Rio Tinto Agriculture Scholarship, I was saying that we have provided over 300 scholarships in just the last year. And I'll ask persons to go and check, because we are one of the organizations that provides the largest scholarship grants and bursaries in Jamaica, right? So this scholarship is afforded to persons living in St. Anne, St. Catherine, and Manchester. So if you're living in any of these parishes or attending school in any of these parishes, you're able to apply for this scholarship through our 4-H parish office, or you can visit our website as well. We also help to facilitate Earth University scholarships for at least 4 persons for the year. So, or we are big in ensuring that we not just give you the basics, but if you have additional interest in moving forward in your agriculture journey, we are here to guide you and support you. We also have our Portland 4-H. Now, we know that Case is in Portland, right? And so Case tend to offer 5 scholarships for students in the 5 high schools. So they tend to choose 1 person from each high school each year with that scholarship. And I'm telling you, we are heading places as it relates to that. All right, let me just go back a bit. All right, we have our Hanover charities, and as you heard, I am from Hanover. So we have the Hanover charities. We tend to partner with them in encouraging our clubbites living in the parish or attending school in the parish to apply for these scholarships or grants once they're studying agriculture. And we help you to facilitate the program, right? We also look at our youth in agriculture committee. Again, this is a committee that stands ready to support youth in agriculture and provide these different scholarship opportunities for them. Right, so now the theme for this morning, youth innovation and transformation, and we are looking at intellectual property. Now, when I look at this theme, I try to dissect to see how is it in alignment with the Jamaica 4-H clubs and their daily activities. So if you notice on your screen, I tend to put the Jamaica 4-H clubs in the middle because I see us as the core, right? I see us as the core as it relates to youth innovation and transformation and intellectual property. So youth for us, we have over 100,000 registered members who are our youth, and they are the largest cohort of persons that we have, right? We also have our volunteers, over 5,000 volunteers, some of whom are also youth. But when I look at innovation and transformation, I would have mentioned some of these words prior to. But when we look at innovation, Jamaica 4-H clubs, as you hear 4-H, you know we are big on creating new ideas, creating new products. And we not just create them internally, but guess what? We share them with our youth. We teach persons. We go now, when I speak, look at intellectual, what we actually do is to tap into the minds of our young people. We know our young people are very creative. They have some, when they come up with some designs and models, sometimes it is amazing. When I look at transformation, as I mentioned earlier, we take those apples that we would have seen years gone by, that you would see them spoiling under the tree, but we transform them and utilize them and add them, consider them to be value-added products, right? So the theme this morning, youth innovation and transformation, it plays an integral role in the activities of the Jamaica 4-H clubs. Our mandate is to educate and train youth, which is similar as I look at intellectual property from 2 different perspectives. Intellectual, we talk about tapping into the mind of humans, right? Hence the theme clearly reflects some of the daily activities of the Jamaica 4-H club, right? So intellectual property, it's an intangible creation of the human mind. How do we help persons to think critically and logically? So this is what we do here at the Jamaica 4-H clubs. You persons may come in, they may have a simple idea, but when they come in, they can sit down, we can talk with them, work with them, and help to develop those ideas. On the other hand, I know this is the core of what the Jamaica intellectual property does, right? They tend now to build on some of the basic skills that we would have provided, because again, we would not have been the expert in that area. So they would now build on some of the basic information that we would have shared, right? So we look at inventions, literally, and the artistic work, because you know, when persons tend to have their products, right? You don't want to have your products, and how do you go about bringing it to the market? So you look at the artistic work, designs, symbols, names, and images used in business development or commerce. So hence, we are helping the Jamaica intellectual property somewhat in achieving their goal, right? So let me just give you now real life situation as to how we actually help the Jamaica intellectual property. So under our program that is known as our RE program, right? And you may see it is a Rural Youth Economic Empowerment Program. So we have it in two phases. We have our Rebuilder and we have our Restarter. So the Rebuilder we considered to be the mother program that we had started out with in the initial stage. Under that program, we would train individuals and provide them with input valued at $100,000. Now, when COVID set in, we took a different approach in saying, guess what? Instead of providing $100,000 to one particular individual, why not share it in two and provide an input of $50,000 to a particular participant? Hence, we came up with the Restarter 1,000. Right? So the 1,000 is the aim to support $1,000 over the period that we had established. And if you look carefully on my screen to the right, I know many persons are able to recognize or Citrina Atkins. She was one of our participants, you know, and she emerged as a CARICOM Young Farmer of 2021. Again, we are impacting lives, and we are creating wealth for you. All right, are you hearing me now? I was asked to unmute again.
Yes,
right. So we encourage youth ages 18 to 35 years to start their agriculture-based enterprise. So once we see those potential, we ask persons, we encourage persons to apply to us, right? So during this program, we train persons in their area of interest, similar to those that I would have listed prior to, provide them with their venture input. Are you hearing me? Each time I'm asked on mute. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you. Go ahead.
All right, great. So we not just train individuals, but guess what? We offer a hand-holding or coaching exercise where we tend to follow you throughout at least a year, ensuring that you become sustainable, right? And these are some of the areas that we would have promoted under the READ program. If you look to my right, these are some of the products that we would have developed. Hence, this is where the Jamaica intellectual property comes in, right? It speaks to labeling. So we would provide the basic information. Hence, this is where now we have the collaborative initiative. So we produce the juice, they produce the juice. We know that, guess what? I have my brand or my particular logo that I want to use, right? And so we would guide them into getting these things up and running, right? So when we look at branding, because under agro-processing initiative, we look at branding, we look at trademark, because we want persons to develop, to evolve, to move from one level into the next so that they are sustainable, right? So we know intellectual property, they talk about the rights, right? So we want when you develop or you develop their project or their enterprise, they know they have their copyright or their license, right? So persons can say, yes, I have moved from one stage into the next stage. And so I am happy to have this level of partnership today with intellectual property, the Jamaica intellectual property, so that we can further guide our participants. And I'm here to learn more how we can guide our participants in getting the right to their enterprise or their license to operate their enterprise. And so I will leave you this morning with the idea that we have our Youth in Agriculture roadmap, where if you want to pursue higher education in whatever area it is, you can visit the roadmap. It is on our website. If you want to get marketing opportunities, we have those laid out for you. If you want access to agriculture lands, we know persons are out there and you want to get into agriculture, you don't know how to get access to land. You can visit the Jamaica Forage Club website, get that additional information. Financing is also important because I am not sure if when they come to JIPO, if that they will have to pay a fees. I'm not sure. But again, financing plays a great role in any enterprise development. Agriculture technology. We are big in agriculture technology, right? Because we believe in sustainability. We believe that once we are able to get more youth to become a part of the agriculture sector, we can fix some of Jamaica's problems, right? It will help us to eliminate crime. It will help us to provide food, which we refer to as food security. It will enable persons to become sustainable and more so to develop Jamaica economy on a whole. Once again, thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you so much, Mrs. Carr. Thank you so much. Really interesting to see all of the good work that the forage clubs is doing around the island. Always interesting to see the amount of work that you are doing to support the young persons, young people. So really, I think a good look at Miss Douglas, for seeing your screen. A good look at what is available for persons, for young persons. We heard about scholarships, we heard about grants. We heard about bursaries. We heard about opportunities and empowerment for youth entrepreneurship. So we're very glad to hear about all of that. Interesting access to lands, I see, and financing, importantly. So, sometimes we think that things are not happening, things are not available, or we're not really sure where to go. And so part of what we want to do with this workshop this morning is to also highlight what are existing opportunities that are out there, for young persons, and how innovation ties into it, right? How you can, by being creative, by applying a particular nuance or innovation in agricultural science or practice, or in generally, in different areas of technology, you are able to then have some property rights for yourself. All right, so I'm going to introduce our next speaker. Thank again the Forage Clubs for that. Our next speaker is Mrs. Janelle Foster Fennell. Mrs. Foster Fennell is a marketing and communication professional with over 10 years of experience in digital marketing and marketing strategy development, business infrastructure analysis, and planning and project management. She is a graduate of the University of Technology, where she got a degree in marketing and banking and finance. And she is the treasurer of the Young Entrepreneurs Association and also the Marketing Officer of the Jamaica Animation Nation Network. So we're pleased to have Mrs. Foster Fennell here with us this morning, representing YEA, and thanks to YEA as well too. We look forward to hearing from you, ma'am, with your rich experience. What kind of avenues youth can tap into, to be able to promote their own small businesses, promote what they're doing at enterprises, but they can profit from it. So good morning, Mrs. Fennell, Mrs. Foster Fennell.
Hi, morning, everyone. Okay, thank you so much for the introduction. I would like to share my screen. Go ahead and do that. All right, are you seeing the presentation?
Yes, we're not seeing it in presentation mode though. It looks like we're seeing.
I have dual screens, so sometimes it keeps switching back that way.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a big issue. It can stay like that. We're good.
Yeah. Are you able to full screen it?
That's the same way to
from here, or maybe some stance we can render.
It's my double screen, so it's presenting on the other screen. So that's what I need to switch.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Let me just take it off project. Okay. No, it's not that. So let me...
Right, so we're seeing full screen now. So
still seeing it in presentation mode, or
no, we're seeing full screen now. Looking good now. Looking good. Full screen. We're seeing power slide. No, I'm back now to the regular slide.
And we're going back again. All right, I'm just gonna work with this. It keeps switching back.
All right.
It's a hazard of my job. I work in two screens, so it's a problem. All right, no problem. All right, so morning again, everyone. So my name is Janelle Foster Fennell, and I am a member of the YEA, that's the Young Entrepreneurs Association, as well as I'm a member of the Jamaica Animation Nation Network. And my other one is the Jamaica Association for Homeschoolers. Now, my presentation today is not going to be looking at, there's certain things I know you can find out on your own. You can look on our website, that's the YEA Jamaica website. There's so many things that you can find online or information available to you that I don't think I necessarily need to go into what the YEA is, but during my presentation, you get some idea and view as to what the association is about. What I'm going to be focusing on is what's next. So you have an idea. You have created something, you have a business starting, you have all that wonderful new growth of information that you're thinking, this is going to be big, this is what I'm going to do. You're thinking about what I'm going to do with my life and stuff like that. And the part that always gets people is not the part of coming up with the idea, it's a part of building that out, fleshing it out, creating a business and making that business sustainable. So yes, you've created this idea, but then the struggle always comes what to do after that, right? So that's what I'm going to be focusing on. Right, so you already know who I am. So businesses, the average business or the average new business starts, that fails after it starts within about 20 to 50% of businesses go through that during the first year. And there are a number of reasons why businesses fail during the first year, right? There's not enough planning, there's not enough information that you've actually done, not enough research. There's so many things that are not done within, at least before you start or within that year, that cause business to fail. And you might get frustrated because you're thinking, oh my gosh, this was a wonderful idea. I had, everything looked wonderful. There were people interested. I had the market, I had the potential, but why did I fail? And that's because there are lots of things that key important things that have not been done in order for you to facilitate that growth or facilitate that success. And one of the many things that you need to look at, we're going to be looking at about 6 or 7 steps of what you need to do after you have had that idea, after you started that business, after you started that community effort. So whether or not you're looking at starting your own business or whether or not you're looking at starting a new project in a community, then these things all apply, right? So I'm going to be using a little bit of my experiences as well to help bring that story or bring that information to life. Now, as I said earlier, I'm a member of YEA, I'm a member of JAN, and a member of JAS. Now, in all of those three instances, those are things that are relatively, not want to say new. So starting a business is new, it's scary, being a part of the animation so a community, there are lots of things that are new there. And then being a homeschooler, it's not new to the island. I know people who are adults who are homeschooled, but it's still a new construct. And there are things that you need to think about whenever you're taking on something new, right? The first thing you need to think about is why you're doing this, why you started it, why you created that idea, why did I know why I decided to homeschool my kids, right? I know why I started a business. I started a business because I wanted a sense of independence, as well as I wanted to give young entrepreneurs or young small businesses, especially small and micro businesses, an opportunity to be able to compete fairly. And that's why I provide digital solutions. These are things that the average small businessman would not be able to afford entirely, or they don't have the skill sets to be able to apply, because the average small business is usually one person, one or two persons, and they don't have that type of skill set. So I offer that service to them so that they're at an affordable rate, because I target small and medium-sized businesses and micro businesses. I don't go to the big man. I don't go to the huge businesses. Yes, they could pay me more, but my focus is not them, because that's my personal belief is I want to help someone else like me grow, right? So that's my why. Whenever you start something, document your why, put it down, and whether you find out what is it that motivates you, what are the problems that you're solving. And I put money there, but that should not be your motivation. That should not be why you start a business. I put that there because oftentimes people focus on that. They have created an idea and they think, whoa, it's going to create this big income stream for me. I'm going to be balling, I'm going to be flossing by the end of a year or two, and you focus on the money. And when you focus on that, you lose sight of the entire process of the business. You lose sight of the entire dream of why you want to do it. So if money is your motivator, business is not for you, right? Because the average business does not start making that type of profit until after the 5 years. That's when you really start to get that groove going. And you may have to, after the end of 5 years, you may have to start all over again by re-engineering something else. Right? So money should not be your main focus. Yes, it's wonderful. I mean, everybody is looking for that additional independence, that income stream to be able to meet your bills and all of that. But it should not be a motivator. What should make you get up in the morning should have more purpose in you. That gives you more drive, because you can earn money anyway. Whether you do it illegally or legally, you can get money anyway. But having that self-fulfillment is a different type of feeling that you can't acquire anyway. So you must have some form of inner purpose or inner drive. So yes, you have that idea, but why did you come up with that idea? You could have found a new way of how, when potato, I'm using an example, potato or hemp, they have thousands of purposes or uses that you could do with them. Hemp you can use in manufacturing clothes, medicine, so many different things. Maybe you have found a new means of utilizing the plant. Maybe you have found something else to do that might be new to you or new to your area or geographical location. But what is the reason? Why did you think about that idea, right? And then focus on that. And that helps you to keep your business afloat, because when other things pop up, there is that why that you're focused on, and you may have to restructure things to facilitate the why, right? And be able for you to be able to solve that problem or fill that need that you started out with in the first place. Your next step is research, right? I can't tell you how important it is, coming as an entrepreneur, coming as someone who's been employed, who has been working with so many different businesses in so many different spheres. Research is critical. You need to find out what are the things that work for you, or what's working, or what are the ideas that you have. Find out more about it. So when I say internal, I'm looking at the product or service that you're thinking about, the project. You're looking at who are going to be your audience, who are going to be your market, your customers, your clientele, who are going to be your supporters or your suppliers, right? So you're going to dig down deeper into it. The idea always look cute on paper, right? Until you start digging deeper. All right, so I have this idea of a rainbow clip. You know, who am I going to be targeting? Are these people able to afford my rainbow clip after I calculate the whole cost it takes for me to manufacture that clip? What is it that what I'm going to be dealing with on the overall basis in terms of the business, the indirect and the exact things that are aligned with the business. So you're looking at your costs, you're looking at your supplies, you're looking at the potential incomes, our customers, our audience, you're looking at all of that. And you need to dig down deep to find out, does this idea exist elsewhere? And what are is it something that the audience or where I live will be able to gravitate towards it? It might be a brilliant idea, but it might be, you may have to find a market outside of your geographical location, right? You may have to go think globally. I remember we're in the global age. Do not narrow down, do not limit yourself by thinking, I have an idea, and you're thinking it's only persons within your community or within a country that may want that product. Look outside, look globally, where else in the world that this product may be needed or this service may be needed, right? And then think about how you're going to reach this person, how you're going to reach these clientele, what's the costs that are involved in all of that, right? And once you've fleshed out all of those internal ideas or issues, then you need to start looking externally. You need to start looking at, do I have competitors? You know, what are my competitors looking like? What are the trends that are happening in the world globally? What are the things, the activities that are happening outside of my business that may affect my business? Right now, there's an issue in terms of the war with Russia and Ukraine. Then we have gas prices that have gone whoop. Right? So there's so many things that are happening outside of the world that will affect your little business. If your business is a delivery or courier services, your business has significantly been impacted by these increased gas prices. You know, your prices may have been fine when the gas was at a particular level, but know that they've gone up, your prices may have to go up. Now, when the prices go up, will your customer still be able to afford their services? Will you lose out on customers because of that? Will you still be able to function because of that? So you may have to find some other ways of being able to facilitate your business, maybe adding additional service, what have you. So you have to always remember to assess your internal aspects or internal issues or key points that affect your business, and you have to look at the external area as well, right? This is very important so that you're able to know whether or not this, you might know during this research phase, you may have an idea thinking it's new, you don't know anybody else with it, it's new to the island, it's completely fresh, and you're thinking gold mine. But maybe if you dig deeper into the research, you might find out there that maybe someone else in Nepal or in South Africa that might have thought of that idea, might have already instituted that idea. And then that's even better for you because then now you have found someone or somewhere else that exists this idea. You may think that, oh my God, somebody have my idea, you feel all sad. No, finding out that someone else has that idea and has already implemented it is gold mine for you, because now you have a live case that you can look at to see, all right, what are the things that they're doing? What are the things that I could do differently? You know, with this work, look at how they operate to see whether or not it's going to work for you, right? So that's why it's very important to do that research. Yes, you have that idea. It might be a gold mine you're sitting on, but if you don't properly research and decide, okay, think about it logically and in detail, documenting all of these things to see whether or not it is really going to work, and then what are the things that you're going to have to put into it in order for it to work. Your third step is planning, right? You need to have a plan in place. There are too many businesses start off on a whim of feelings that this is good, and yes, they're going to get this doing, they start off with operations, they start looking about suppliers, they start looking about customers, and they start actually operating without even have a plan. You don't have a business plan, you don't have a marketing plan, you don't have a financial plan, you don't have a growth plan, you don't have an operations plan, you don't have no form of plan whatsoever. And then when things don't work out after that high, because when you start a business, you know, there's this high, you know, exactly this addiction, this drug high that you have, that you start off with, and you're running, you hit the ground running, and you're going. But by the time you reach a particular point where that high starts to taper off, right, and the reality starts to hit, then that's where all things go loose. And that's where you need to have a plan. The plan helps you to guide you. A business plan, you know, whether you get it formally done, or if you go online and you find samples and you find ways of creating it, you need to have something down so you know that there's a structure in place. Your idea has been completely fleshed out because you've done your research, you've done all of these things, active groundwork, you know, the behind the scenes work, and then you have a projection, you know, your trajectory, where you're going to be going, What is it that you're going to be doing? And it's clearly documented, right? Remember, document everything when it comes down to your business, your projects, whatever it is, document it. Because when you have something down on paper and something goes differently down the road, you can compare those notes and see, all right, what is it that I did know that caused this, or what is it that I should can do to adjust it? And you know that you're not repeating yourself. So 10 years down the line, you're not repeating the same issues that you had in the first two to 3 years of starting that business, because you've watched it. All right, this is how I did it in year 1, year 2. I'm going to make a change and do year 3, year 4, and see what happens. Compare the two. So, all right, maybe year 1 was a better option than versus what I did in year 3 or 4. Right? Documenting it helps you to manage your business better, manage your process better. It helps you to keep focused. Right? So when you reach growing up and you have other persons now employed, now you have 1 or 2 other persons that that are working with you on this project, then you have something to hand over to them to say, this is it, this is what I'm working with. And then that gives them a clear direction as well, so that everybody's on the same page. Right? So planning is another important factor that oftentimes persons who are starting a business do not put into place. Right? They don't have the proper plans, proper documentations in place. So you have to, obviously, you're not going to be able to focus properly, and you're getting yourself in problems. Your 4th step is self-development. Now, whenever you're doing any form of activity, whether you're starting a business, whether you're starting a project, whether you're working for somebody, anything that you do, I'm a firm believer of self-development. I believe that you should never stop learning. To the day you die, you should be learning something, right? There's too many things out there for you to sit down in your ignorance and not pay attention to what's happening, right? See that we had a pandemic the other day and everybody was all at home, learning at home, all of these different gadgets and technology, all of these things that people are trying to get used to. These are things that existed a long time. These are things that so many persons like myself have been a big supporter of. I'm trying to get people to utilizing these tools. But then what happens? Something hits and you're forced to use these tools. You're forced to use these things that people have been resistant of and afraid of, and all of these crazy ideas and fears that they had, irrational fears that they have with the technology. Now this is something they have to embrace in order to function. And these are things that you're going to have to embrace to function going forward. Now, what are the other things that are out there that you need to learn? No matter what your business is, if it is that you're doing farming, there are new technologies and new methods out there. Go and learn them, research them, find ways of improving on whatever it is you know, right? I will always believe that talent is what gets you through the door, but skills is what helps you keep you in that room and helps you to open other doors. And in order to get these skills, you have to learn new things, acquire new information to be able to implement in your business or your service or whatever it is. So yes, I'm a creative. I'm a designer, right? So I do graphics, all of these things, right? And as a creative, oftentimes we're the ones who don't necessarily are not business minded, right? But I'm one of those unicorns. I am business minded. You notice I have a degree in marketing and finance, right? Because I went and put in that effort to know, all right, this is what I want to do. I had the talent of creativity, but I knew that I needed something else to go along with that in order for me to be able to create something that is sustainable, right? So yes, you may have the talent of whatever it is that you've created, whether no matter what industry it is, you need additional skills, right? You need to be able to know how to manage a business. You may need to know how to manage your finances. You may need to know how to promote yourself. There's so many different things that are out there that you may need to know. Yes, you may know how to farm, but then there might be some other parts of it that you may have to learn now how to do sales. Or maybe you might decide you want to learn how to use these produce that you have to create either, drinks, or maybe to use it in some other way. And you may need to find out how to do that on your own. So constantly improving on yourself. So whatever you start off with should not you should not be all that you have 2, 3, 4 years down the line. There must be some additional things that you've acquired over time to help enhance that initial project or initial idea. All right. Now, step 5 is more implying, it's more around getting to know other persons, right? Who you know. We have this thing in this wonderful island of ours, is not what you know, is who you know, right? And as much as I don't mean it in that space to say that if you don't know somebody, you can't go nowhere. What I mean is finding persons that are in line or have complementary services or activities to what you do. So for instance, the association, right? I'm a part of the Young Entrepreneurs Association. I'm a part of the Jamaica Animation Nation Network and a part of the Jamaica Homeschoolers Association. Why am I part of these associations? Because they are in line with what I do. I have my own business, I'm in the creative sphere, and I homeschool. So I align myself with people who are like-minded within the fields that I am interested in. And then I learn from them as well as I share with them. And that helps to move that entire community forward. So yeah, I'm a part of the animation network, or I'm part of YEA. Whenever we have meetings, you interact with different people. Sometimes you find out that you could create partnership or you can collaborate with people. I have persons within that YEA that I work with. That I have another person. She designs, but she has a printer. I don't have a printer. So we collaborate. So whenever I get someone, a client, and they need something to print, I push them over to her, right? Yes, she's not necessarily pushing the printing, the designing work to me, but I also design websites and I do social media and other stuff. So whenever she has a client that need those additional services, she pushes them over to me, right? So that is an example of collaborating. And I would not have gotten that level of partnership or collaboration happening had I not been a part of the association, because that's where I met her, right? And there are other persons within that space as well that I have shared my services with, or I've used their services. And even if we have the same, we manage to share ideas. Because that same person that I work with, we collaborate on ideas. So I may have an idea of something, and then she may have an idea, and we may bounce it off each other, or she might have more information about something. I may have more information. And if she's stuck with something, she calls me up and say, hey, Jay, I need this. I don't understand how to do this, and vice versa. Right? There are other persons within that association that does that as well. Because I have a particular skill set, persons may call me up and say, John, I need this, that. What do you think about that? Likewise, I will call them up. As much as I have financial experience, I still don't have a strong accounting background. So there are persons within the association that have accounting, that I could do our accountants, that I can call up and say, I have this particular issue. How should I treat it? I have lawyers. There's so many different persons. There's so many different resources that are within that community that I can pull on. Likewise, my homeschool, likewise, the animation, there's so many persons with different skill sets that I may necessarily don't have, I'm not really strong in, but I can pull into these little places and I can get them, right? Another important thing you may need is a coach or a mentor. When you're part of YEA, we offer that services. We do offer coaching and mentorship, right? And it is in an informal as well as a formal structure. So we do have offer coaching and mentoring, but then it's informal because, likewise, I said, that collaboration where I have persons where I can touch base with her, they hold me accountable for whenever I need to do anything in particular. It could just be a friend that is a colleague in that space that I can use as my, all right, you're going to hold me accountable to make sure that I do what I need to do in order to progress my business. Or maybe I have an idea sitting down with, but because I bounced it off, my mentor or my colleague, every now and then they may call me up and say, hey, Jay, what's going on with that idea you called me about a couple of weeks ago? How come I don't see you doing it? Understand? That is how I'm talking about knowing someone, networking, building relationships with like-minded persons and other persons who may not necessarily be in the same field, but they may offer something or they may have knowledge that can enhance your whole overall business, right? Step 6, it's what's new. This is you looking at what are the current trends, what are the things that are happening in internal environments. So that's within the business, what are happening within your community, within the country, externally. You start looking all around in the environment. What are the things that are happening outside of your industry, outside of your business that may affect you, that you may have to implement new things in? Like I said, we had COVID, people had to be locked up inside, movement was limited. That outbreaks the era where every business realized now that they need a website, right? That has been a very busy time for me as well, right? Because of the fact that I offer website building services, right? Because of the external factors that were happening in the environment, businesses now realize that, websites are really that important. Seeing that the customers can come to me, there needs to be another means for them to interact with me and be able to utilize my service, or else my business goes up in flames, right? So you have to be able to constantly look at what are the things that are happening around you and then you need to make plans in place, make changes, make sure your changes are strategic, you know. So it might mean acquiring a new additional service, it might mean redeveloping that idea that you have or that product or service, it might mean adding additional things to it. So yes, you may be let's say you're a chef, you may realize, okay, I can't go into, I may have my restaurant, but persons can come to me. It might means now I have to move into a mobile state. Maybe I have to go to them. All right, maybe my schedule is too busy, I can't go to people, but maybe I can set up an online community. I can set up a videos, YouTube channel, I can set up an IG channel, and I can probably start creating things to help people, to show them how to do these things at home, right? And that is you following what is happening in the world, making adaptation and changes to what is it that you currently do. So it's not changing out, maybe you have to change your business completely, maybe you have to come up with a new idea, or maybe it's just re-engineering that current idea that you have, right? But you won't know if you're not looking around and looking outside as to what is happening. Right. All right. So what are the important things to note when it comes on to having your business, setting up your ideas, you know, structuring it? There's some things that you need to definitely, apart from, yes, we have the 6 steps, right? Your step 1, you have to know your why. You know, your step 2, you have to do your research. You know, you right, go through all of those steps. But then other things that you need to keep in mind is that you're not alone, right? So whether you think you're the only person, maybe you're the only one in your family or in your circle who's thinking, I have an idea and I want to try this. Maybe everybody's telling you no. Maybe they tell the boy, the person next door, they try that and it never works. So it's not gonna work for you. There's so many different negative things that you could come across, but you need to remember that you're not alone. You're not the only person going through that. Almost everybody who starts out doing something new or different gets hit with that. You know, when I started out homeschooling, I got hit with that. When pandemic hit, all of a sudden I become the number one key source of information because, hey, I've already been doing this at home. I've already been utilizing these resources, right? Just so don't be thinking that, okay, I have this idea and I'm all alone. No, you're not. You may be just in the wrong space, or maybe you need to find yourself in these other networking spaces to realize that, all right, there are other persons who are like me, right? There are more things worse than failing. So in terms of you starting the idea and something happens and it blows up in your face and you're sitting on, oh my God, this did not work. You know what's worse than failing? Not trying at all. Yeah, so then you don't know whether or not you could have been successful or failing. Failing just tells you, all right, this is one thing, the one way of not doing this thing. So now I have to find another way of doing that thing, right? So it's important for you to still push forward. That's why it's important to know your why, so you know that you still keep going forward regardless of what's happening, right? Competition doesn't necessarily mean that it's your business is ruined. Yes, you're offering an idea and someone else might take that same idea and change it up and push it back out to the market. Competition doesn't necessarily mean that your business goes up. It means you have to be more creative. It means you have to find other ways of securing your audience. It can't just be, I have this product, look at me. There must be additional things that you're offering that is going to make your audience or your client base look towards you, as well as the competition is somebody that you can learn from. Whenever they do something else, you can look at them and say, boy, digital and flow is a key example. Whenever one of them introduces a new package, the other one somehow has another package similar to it released. They may have done some changes towards it, right? So watching your competitor is a good thing, because whatever they do that goes wrong, you can say, oh, all right, now do not do that, right? And you can make changes to your own business, right? Believing in yourself. Remember saying knowing your why. You have to, starting a business, starting on any venture, doing anything new means you have to start to deal with that little voice in your head that is going to tell you you're crazy, you can't do this, what the world are you doing with this, you don't have enough talent for it, you're not enough training. You're going to always have that thing. They call it imposter syndrome. Whenever you start to do something new, that hits you like, whoa, it slaps in your face, it hits in all corners, shapes, sizes, everything. And you have to be able to listen to that tiny little flame of voice inside of you that is trying to remind you, remember why we're doing this. Remember why we're doing this. So you have to be able to believe in yourself. You're able to build that confidence, so that whenever things start look shaky, you don't jump ship. You just ride the waves until things get better, right? Ignorance is not bliss. Remember, it is a constantly self-developing. Ignoring what is happening, pretending that, oh, I'm good right here because business is good. it is not going to work for you if you're going into any form of venture, whether it be a project, community project, whether it be a business. No matter what is it that you're going to, you can't sit by thinking this is it. There must be something else. There must be additional things you need to know. There must be additional places you can go. There must be additional things that you can experience, right? This is not it. This is just it for now. Always keep that in mind and do it all over again, meaning everything that we started from step 1 to 6 is when you finish at 6, go back to step 1, right? Whenever you're in a business or you're starting on your own with any venture, know that this is a cycle, right? Business is a cycle. We go up, we come round, we come down, we go up again, and we go round, right? And it is not always smooth sailing ahead. There are always going to be rocky patches. There's always going to be a point where you have to pause on the brakes and just think, all right, where do I go from here? Do I go left? Do I go right? Right? And this is where you have to remember to go back over the same process. So every time, by the time you reach 6, go back around to 1 again. Right? You keep doing this over and over and over and over. It may sound exhausting, but if you're doing it the right way and you're implementing the things in the best possible way, then it becomes a natural. After a while, it becomes a natural thing, like a habit. Like you don't even realize what you're doing it. Right? So it's something that is very important for you to be able to maintain that success and keep the business afloat. Right? So that is it for my presentation. If you have any questions, you can reach out to there. You can visit YEAJamaica.com to be able to know more about our association, how to sign up. We have membership we cater for young persons between 18 and 40. And so whether you're a student, whether you actually have the business registered, you can sign up for a membership. The pricing and everything is there. You can sign up for a membership on the website. Right. Is me. Let me get out of this. Stop sharing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mrs. Foster Fennell. A lot of information there, right? A lot of graphics and of course the energy. So that's Mrs. Foster Fennell from the Young Entrepreneurs Association of Jamaica and several other hats as well too, sharing some tidbits of just, not to be weary along the journey, of entrepreneurship. Sometimes it's not going to always be, as easy as you may think, but you have to be determined, have a clear vision. And of course, as we call it in Jamaica, we say you have to have the stick-to-itiveness, to be able to persevere and succeed. All right, so we're going to go into our next speaker. Thanks, Mrs. Foster Fennell. I'm going to introduce our trademarks, designs, and geographical indications manager here at JIPO, Ms. Adrienne Thompson. Adrienne is an attorney at law and manages the trademark design and GIS department here at JIPO, and will share on some of the intellectual property components, that we administer here at JIPO and how they can be of benefit to you as youth, as creatives out there. So good morning, Adrienne.
Hi, morning. Just give me 1 second. Let me share my presentation. Okay. All right, so, okay, are you seeing it, the presentation?
Yes, we're seeing it in presentation mode.
Okay, great. Okay, so as Dr. Goff said, I am just gonna talk briefly about some of the services that we offer here at JIPO that could be useful to young entrepreneurs and 4-H club members in particular. Hold on. Okay, so at JIPO, we deal in administering intellectual property laws and encouraging people to protect their intellectual property rights. And so, as Mrs. Foster Fennell was saying, when you're starting your business, it's really important to take several steps to develop your idea. And one of those steps is to protect your intellectual property. And so intellectual property rights are legal rights that are used to essentially protect the creations of the mind. And so once you convert your ideal into some tangible form, then you can use that intellectual property rights to protect it. Yeah, 1 second. So, all right, so under the overall heading of IP rights, you have industrial property that covers patents, trademarks, geographical indications. And then you have copyrights and related rights and traditional knowledge. So intellectual property rights cover a wide spectrum of activities. And so it's possible that depending on what your idea or your business is, you might use more than one IP right to ensure that you have adequate protection. So one of the IP rights that is on the horizon is plant breeders' rights. And so JIPO is working on developing plant variety protection legislation that could be useful for 4-H club members. So what a plant breeder's right is the rights that are used to protect varieties of new plants that are distinct, uniform, and stable. And so a plant breeder's right essentially gives the creator of the new variety, the new plant variety, a monopoly in the exploitation of that plant variety. And so it's similar to a patent where you have some kind of innovation that is usually a solution to a problem. That's a patent. And with a patent, you get a monopoly. Similarly, a plant breeder's right gives you a monopoly to commercially exploit this new plant variety that you've created. The term of protection is usually around 20 years. And so during that term, the creator of the plant variety gets exclusive rights to reproduce the plant material, sell the plant material, and basically propagate other varieties using that plant material. So you're the only one that can essentially use these seeds, for example. So it can be a very powerful IP right, and it can also has the potential to be fairly lucrative. So an example of a company that has built their platform on several plant breeders' rights would be Monsanto, and basically creating different varieties of, I don't know, corn or wheat or other commodities that have special properties. And, they essentially have changed lots of commodities markets and are very lucrative. So assuming that, you've created this new plant variety, chances are you'll have a business, or as Mrs. Foster-Fennell said, when you come up with some amazing innovation, you will often set up a business that is going to be the banner under which you're offering your goods or services. And so that is where a trademark comes into play. And so what a trademark is, it's basically important for the branding of your business. So it's a sign that is used to distinguish certain goods or services from one enterprise from the goods or services from another. So you interact with trademarks pretty much daily. For example, the TVJ logo is a very popular trademark in Jamaica. Island Grill, Tasties. When you think of these companies, you tend to think about their trademarks. And so what can serve as a trademark? Basically, it can be a picture, it can be words, it can be a sound or a combination thereof. But in order for something to serve as a trademark, it needs to be able to satisfy the definition of a trademark. So it needs to be able to function as a source identifier. So when a consumer looks at this thing or interacts with this thing, they will associate the goods or services that the thing is attached to with a particular business. So in order to do that, it needs to be distinctive. It can't be a common descriptive word, and it can't be something that is a generic term that is used for that product or service. So for example, if your product is, you're gonna be an agro-processor and you're gonna be selling jerk sauce, then your trademark can't be just jerk sauce by itself. You would need to have some other kind of identifier. So it can be Adrian's fancy jerk sauce, but to have just jerk sauce doesn't really tell the consumer where this product is coming from. It tells me what's in the bottle, but not which company made it. So that's something to consider when you're coming up with what your trademark is going to be. So once you have an idea of what you want to protect as your trademark, then how do you apply for it? Basically, you fill out a form. It's called a TM1 form. You're going to submit with the form a representation of what the trademark is supposed to be. And you're going to tell us the specific list of goods or services that you want the trademark to apply to. So here we just have an example of the classification that we use for the goods or services. So if you're planning to sell spices, for example, then that would be in class 30. When you're filling out your form, you need to be specific in your description of the goods or services that you're going to offer. But you can go to the JIPO website, or you can call us and we can help you with those details. Another thing to consider is if in your branding, you're going to be using the national symbols or emblems, then you need to ensure that you have the permission of the Office of the Prime Minister if you're going to be using any of those things in your trademark. Also, if you're using the country name, so if you're using Jamaica in your trademark, then you need to show that the goods or services originate from Jamaica. You need to show that there is some connection. Additionally, if your trademark contains the traditional knowledge or cultural expression of an indigenous or local community, then you'll need to show the office that you have the consent of the community to use their traditional knowledge. So this is most often seen in the context of the Rastafarian and Maroon community. So if you're planning to use words like Irie, Itol, or imagery like an abeng, anything like that, then you need to show that you have consent from the community. Basically, a recognized representative of the community has to sign off, and the office will ask you for that. So assuming that you have all of this stuff, then the fee for the trademark, to register a trademark in one class, is $17,800. So you pay $7,800 upon application, and then once we examine the trademark, we'll accept and publish it. And so at that stage, if we accept it, we pay $10,000 on the back end before we publish the trademark in our journal. So assuming that the trademark is registered, then it's valid for 10 years, but you can renew it indefinitely. So every 10 years, as long as the business is still booming, you can continue to renew the trademark indefinitely. It's important to know that trademarks are territorial. And so if you protect your trademark in Jamaica, the boundaries of that protection are Jamaica exclusively. So that's where the Madrid Protocol comes in. So if you are planning to export your goods or services, then before the Madrid Protocol, what you'd need to do is you'd need to essentially ensure that you had protection in each export market. And so often you'd have to either go to or have agents or attorneys in those different jurisdictions try to protect your trademarks for you in those foreign markets. And it can be a tedious and expensive process to go to all of these various markets. So with the Madrid Protocol, you can essentially apply for an international application where basically you submit this application to JIPO and we will forward it to the World Intellectual Property Office. And in this international application, you can designate what countries you're interested in obtaining protection in. And basically it's a shortcut to obtain protection in these various countries. So if you want more information on Madrid, again, you can go to the JIPO and WIPO websites to find out more information on how to file a Madrid application. So the final IP right that I want to talk about today is geographical indications. So while a trademark is a source identifier in that it signals to the consumer that the good or service comes from a particular business, what a geographical indication does, it's a sign that says to the consumer that this good has a unique property that is attributable to where the good comes from. So the most famous local example would be Blue Mountain Coffee. So when you go to the supermarket and you want to buy coffee, you'll notice that Blue Mountain Coffee is the most expensive. And the reason is it has specific flavors that are attributable to where it's grown and the processes that they use to produce this coffee. And so a geographical indication basically can be used as a signal to consumers of quality or reputation, and then it will allow consumers or encourage consumers to pay more for these products because of these unique properties. Other examples are champagne, that's probably the most famous GI worldwide. And so champagne is sparkling wine from a specific region in France. You can have sparkling wine from Italy, from other countries, but you can only get champagne from this small territory in France. Other local examples, in addition to coffee, Jamaica rum and Jamaica jerk are registered at JIPO, but we have so many agricultural products, and so it's possible that GIs can be developed for ginger. Castor oil is one that is on the way to acquiring a GI. Yam producers are also discussing obtaining a GI. So again, if you're thinking about agricultural products, a GI might be an option. So how do you obtain a GI? So usually the applicant for a GI is a producer group, a producers association. And similar to the trademark, you're gonna fill out a form and tell us what you intend the GI to be, but also you have to identify what is the area, what's the territory that the GI will cover. So is it Blue Mountains? What are the parameters of the GI? Is it the entire island? You know, is it St. Elizabeth time, for example? So you need to specify where the thing is supposed to come from. And then you're also going to have to lay out what is the quality or reputation of the product that is due to where it comes from. So what are the unique characteristics of, you know, this coffee? What is the organoleptic profile of this rum? Those things you're going to put in the application. And then you're also going to have to tell us how you're going to maintain the GI. So in order for members of the Producers Association to use it, what standards do they have to meet? You know, anybody can use it, but they're gonna have to meet certain quality standards. And so how is the owner of the GI going to maintain those standards? There's also an application fee of $30,000 once you submit the application. And so then once you submit it, JIPO will examine the application to see if it passes muster under the GI legal framework. And again, like the trademark, if we accept it, we will publish it in the JIPO IP journal. And after 3 months, if there are no objections to the registration of the GI will be registered. So one thing that's unique about GIs, unlike the trademark that you essentially have to renew every 10 years, the GI is valid for as long as the link to the geographical origin is maintained. So as long as the domain exists and you're still producing coffee up to that particular standard, then there's no need to come back to JIPO to pay more money to continue with the GI. It will just continue to exist potentially in perpetuity. So that's GIs, trademarks, and fanciers, right, in a nutshell. So I'll turn back to Dr. Carr. And if there are any questions, just let me know.
Yes, thanks very much. We're going to have a question and answer segment soon. So I see some questions in the chat. I want to remind you, you can put them in the chat. We're going to touch on the question and answer segment just now. So thanks very much, Adrian. Of course, for more information about JIPO, you can always visit us online, as you see our online contacts and phone numbers. And you can, of course, come in as well. So I'm going to introduce our fourth speaker this morning. That is Mrs. Natalie Joyne. She's from the Development Bank of Jamaica. Ms. Joyne is a part of the DBJ's team that is charged with energizing the innovation-based startup ecosystem in Jamaica. Of course, oftentimes when we're talking about, startups and we're talking about innovation, we have to be looking at, of course, resource allocation and financing. And so we're very pleased to have with us the Development Bank of Jamaica. And of course, Natalie, who is here to share with us all of what they have to offer to support young people in this innovation journey. So good morning, Natalie. Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry. Somebody said, was it yesterday? It never gets old, does it?
True, it's true. It always happens, man.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I've been listening to the presentations and they've all been very, very interesting. And I hope they're interesting to our audience as well. And I hope what I have to say will be relevant and interesting to them.
So could Natalie be able to share screen, please?
Yes, let me do that. I will find amongst my too many. Make sure that I have my files up. I'm sorry, I had it just now. Okay,
So hope. Let me see.
yes, I'm coming up.
No, I'm just trying to see if I can make sure you have the access there.
Oh, okay.
Present. Okay, there you are. Thank you.
Presentation mode. Okay, presentation mode. Okay, all right. I'm exiting because I'm on the wrong slide. That is money right there. So let me go up to the first slide. Let me start off. I'm going to go quickly through some of the earlier parts of this so we can get to the meat of the matter, which is the money that could potentially be provided by the DBJ. So I'll start off with just a quick summary of what the DBJ is and what the DBJ does. The DBJ that I refer to so familiarly, it is the Development Bank of Jamaica. And our goal is to provide opportunities to all Jamaicans to improve their quality of life. And we work by seeking to improve the economy through supporting entrepreneurs. We're a government agency. We support entrepreneurs in the productive sectors. We provide access to financing, real access to money. And we have a privatization program that allows us as individuals sometimes to get access to money through stocks, through privatizing publicly owned entities. For example, there was the Wigton privatization that several people got involved in as even often their first step in buying stocks and shares and so on. So that was one of our projects at the DBJ that we're very, very proud of. But I'll be spending a lot of time talking about how we support entrepreneurs in the productive sector and how we provide access to financing, because that's often very difficult and challenging for entrepreneurs, especially in the agricultural sector. So looking at it as an individual, as somebody who decides, okay, I'm going to leave my job, I'm not going to be an employee anymore, I'm going to start my own business, and I'm going to take on the risks, hopefully for the rewards of the venture. The great thing is that entrepreneurs are often seen as innovators because they come up with new ideas for goods, services, and businesses, or sometimes even processes. And, we looked at this innovation and the need to protect it, because this innovation is often a source of intellectual property. And JIPO gets involved in helping us to protect our intellectual property. That is the innovations that we come up with in order to make super profits on or in our businesses. So why does DBJ want to support entrepreneurs in innovation? And that's because they play a key role in growing the economy. And our major interest is in growing the economy so that Jamaicans can, as a whole and individually, live more productive lives. So let's take a look at the example of COVID-19. We're still living that to a large extent. You recall that our remittances were threatened, bauxite exports went into decline, and many people lost their jobs or they were, just laid off. So big companies went into kind of slowdown mode, or, some medium-sized companies even shut down. But the innovators, bold entrepreneurs, they went out and some people started new businesses. Sometimes they created new businesses around new goods or services, or they looked at finding new and better ways of doing the same thing. And because of this, they were able to grow because of the innovation that they brought to the table. They had what we call a competitive advantage. It means that they had that little special something that made people want to buy from them as opposed to somebody else. And this allowed them to get premium profits. That is, they get that little extra profit that allows the business to grow faster. As they grow, of course, what we at the DBJ are also excited by is job creation. So as these innovation-based entrepreneurs and businesses hired more people, they paid employees, and so they generated real money in the economy. So more people had the opportunity to do better than they would have in spite of COVID. I know lots of us, many of us, almost all of us, were negatively affected by COVID, but or small businesses had that competitive advantage because of an innovation. It often enabled them to survive. And a few people thrived. We had a program, for example, at the DBJ, one of our many programs where we support entrepreneurs. And this was the MIEP, we called it the Mentors for Innovation and Entrepreneurship Program. And what we saw with the companies that were participating in this program, it was only 12 of them, it was a pilot, but they started off with, in early 2020, we launched in April of 2020. Well, we actually launched formally in June, but we gathered made the selections in April. They started off with 41 employees, and by last December, they grew, in spite of COVID, to 80 employees. So we could see innovation in action working in that program. The same entities, they launched 13 new products and entered 22 new markets during COVID. And so we look at, why do we want to support entrepreneurs in innovation? They help to increase their business income, and by doing that, they increase national income. And DBJ is excited by that. That is our mission. So they created new ways of doing business and sometimes social change in the process, because new inventions or new ways of doing things can be more efficient. It can help people to do things faster, better, and so on. For example, there was in our program a telemedicine company, and during COVID, they expanded because they were able to say, hey, you can go to the doctor without going to the doctor. And people in the age of COVID wanted to do that. Not many people wanted to go to a medical center where, chances were you had at least one someone affected by COVID there. And so they preferred to go to the doctor by phone. And so this company actually was able to do and to grow significantly during COVID-19 because of the innovation that they leveraged. So looking back at agriculture now, most of us most of our audience is involved in agriculture or wants to be involved in agriculture. How can I innovate in agriculture? Here are the four main ways that you do innovation. You take the same product and you go in the same market. That's not really innovation. That is what we don't want to do. So you don't want to be selling the same yam in the same place. Not unless you have something special, you're going to get same profit or no profit at all. So in order to innovate now, what you can do is take the same product, the yam, and send it over to a new market. The new market in the UK, for example, for yams, it's just exploding. So that's a good place to send the yam. That's a good place to send the mango. Now, if you want to innovate on the yam and do some biotech work, as our previous speaker talked about, where you're now JIPO, that is awesome, doing the what do you call it? The where you get genetic protection. I got the name and it's gonna slip my brain, but essentially you could get protection for your genetic development of your agricultural product. That is IP protection, I meant. This is a new product now that you could, the same product that you could push into, a new product that you could sell locally here. You have a new variety of yam that somehow it will not rot when you cut it, not rot as fast. I would love to buy that yam because every time I buy the yam spoils by the time I get to cooking it the second time around, and I buy pounds of yam. So if you have a yam that you have developed using new technology, you've developed a new variety of yam that I can cut it as a consumer, and it stays in my fridge and doesn't spoil, or better yet, it stays in the kitchen in a box on the floor, and it stays just the same a week later or 2 weeks later. That's fantastic. If you're the producer of that, you're going to be able to make some premium profits. If you take this new product and you send it over to the UK, imagine that you could cut smaller portions of the yam and sell it in the supermarkets in the UK and make even more money. So there are different ways that you can innovate in agriculture, or make super profits in agriculture even at this point, but it starts with innovation. When you innovate and you start a new business, it's still very difficult to get a business loan. We hear that complaint all the time. We can't get any loans. We can't get any loans, my lighting just went, but we can't get any loans from the commercial banks. And that's because they're not really set up to provide loans to early stage businesses. Their first responsibility is to make sure that you, as a person who's put your savings in a bank, can get your money back whenever you want it. So that might mean sometimes that you, as a small business owner or just starting a business, might not be able to get that money because the risk that you will not succeed is very high. And one of our previous speakers, Janelle, talked about the risk of a small business in terms of the failure risk. And it's really, really very high. So the commercial bank's looking at, hey, I need to have my savers money ready whenever they want it. I cannot, or to a large extent, I can't afford to take the risk of lending to this very early stage business. So therefore they say, you know what, you're not able to meet your monthly loan payments. If you take this multi-million-dollar loan, chances are you won't be able to make all that money right now, which you heard the statistics on small businesses and how soon you can get to a point where you can make money. I think Janelle said 5 years, for example. You don't have financial statements, of course, because you just started a business. So how can you have 3 years of historical financial information? Definitely. So by definition, you don't have enough information for them to assess to say, hey, you really can make all that money. Sometimes as founders of small businesses, we've been borrowing money for a while and the credit card's maxed out and so on. The bank looks at it and says, you know what, you kind of are a bigger risk than we thought, or your business has already gotten too much money from wherever else you got it. And so they won't be able to give you any more money because you don't have that, or you don't have sufficient collateral, or you can't show that the business will make enough money, again, to the first point, to pay back a loan. Or you know what, because it's a one-person operation right now, you don't have all the skill sets that you need. They have to make a successful business. So the bank looks at you and says, sorry, we can't lend you that money. So therefore, where are you going to get money to run your small business? The DBJ tries to help with this. So let's look at the typical ways that small businesses get their money. They start off often with what we call bootstrapping. So they save. They're working at the regular job and they set aside money, and say they're going to fund it on their own. So they start off with money that, he or she has saved. And that's very good. That's what we call bootstrapping. If you can somehow keep your business running on your own funds until it gets to that point where it can stand on its own, it can pay you, it can pay all the employees, and you can make a profit, that's when you can say your business is standing on its own 2 feet. But often that stage does not come for a long time. And sometimes that money that you've saved so hard worked so hard to save might run out. So then you turn to your family, you turn to your friends, your granny, your auntie, your friend from long time, your school friend, all of these people to beg and borrow money to help fund your business. And sometimes they can help you, but you as the entrepreneur now have the burden of understanding that, boy, if we're going to give you our life savings, what's going to happen if your business fails? We're going to have any more savings to last her till the end of our life. Or your mother, or your friend, nothing kills friendships faster than money, than a loan. And so sometimes we jeopardize our relationships by asking them to invest in this business that really has an uncertain future because we can't guarantee anything. We might go seek commercial loans, and few entrepreneurs at the early stages are able to get a commercial loan for the reasons we just discussed. Or they can go to someone else who does this as on the side, angel investing, we call it, where they give you some money. Instead of saying you have to pay this back monthly, they say we'll take a portion of your business. Some entrepreneurs back out at that. No, I don't want to give up anything on my business. I want your money, but I don't want you to take any part of my business. That isn't a good person for or business for angel investing, because an angel investor or a venture capital investor wants to take a portion of your business. And in fact, they'll only put their money in your business if they feel assured that your business is going to grow and grow exponentially, really make huge profits. And if you think about it, if you were to invest in something, you want to make sure you're not going to lose your money. You want to make sure that you're going to get money back and good money back. Some companies will go through this process and will get to the point where they sell shares on the stock market. That is, they do what, this is very trendy nowadays to go IPO. And many companies are able to do that by selling shares, selling equity or selling interest in a company, part ownership of the company, to members of the public utilizing the stock market. So these are generally ways that small businesses get money. Now enter the DBJ, facilitating economic growth and development, supporting entrepreneurs at all stages of their journey to success. I like that part of it. So we support entrepreneurs by providing access to financing. We do this in a number of different ways, directly and indirectly. Directly, we give grants. That's free money. We have vouchers. I'll tell you a little bit about that. We have the Ignite program. We have a partial loan guarantee program, the credit enhancement facility, where we provide some collateral support for when you go to a commercial bank. And we have the SERVE program, which you might have heard about, where we have a Go Digital voucher to help you to set up your website. We have the MSME recovery loan for small businesses that were making money before COVID, but COVID hit and they went into slowdown more. We're trying to be able to help them. And we're processing loans through the SERVE program in this way. So for the Go Digital vouchers for small businesses that need to do website and get some IT services, that's very important. And Janelle talked about the need to ensure that we are leveraging the opportunity, business opportunities that COVID provided to really get with the program as far as going on the internet is concerned in a business sense. That program, the Go Digital vouchers, will help with that. And if you need a lot more money to do your digital business, then we have a loan for that as well. So we work with partners. We don't give money here. People used to call to say, hey, can I get a loan or can I get an investment? At that time, we weren't working directly with, providing credit directly. We give our money to banks or entities that we call AFIs, approved financial institutions. These are banks, credit unions, and so on. So you can go to any of these institutions, banks, credit unions, microfinance institutions, and ask them about the DBJ loan. Usually it's a little better on the terms than the other loans. So you want to ask for that. You still have to qualify for a regular loan because we don't want to lose. We want to ensure that we're supporting growing businesses, and they will take you through the process. Indirect support, we support business incubators and accelerators. Janelle talked earlier about the importance of getting good business advice. That's what incubators and accelerators do. And one of the major ones would be the Jamaica Business Development Corporation, JBDC. They're all across the island. So you need business help, you're starting a business, they're a good person to call. And we have accelerators such as the Branson Center of Entrepreneurship. And of course, our universities have their own incubators. We have an incubator at the UWY, at UTech, at NCU, UCC. All of these entities tend to have some kind of business support. If they don't have an incubator, the universities, then they will have what we call an SBDC that will be there to help you with your business ideas and to refine those. And we have other entrepreneurship development organizations across the country that we work with to help support you indirectly. Now, a little bit more about those vouchers. The voucher for technical assistance. It is free money you can get. We'll pay 70% of the cost of whatever it is the service that you need. We have a list of services that we provide. If you need a business plan, then we will help you by providing 70% of the money free of cost. You don't need collateral. You don't need anything to go and get your business plan done by a professional. For example, I indicated that if you wanted to get your website set up, then we have a voucher for that too under the SERVE program, the Go Digital voucher. So you can get up to you can get one voucher, and that's because we want to spread the love. We want to ensure that as many people as possible can get this voucher. So you're a business, you're setting up a business, you can go to our portal, www.dbjvoucher.com. It looks like this today, so it looks all nice and pretty. So you can go there, and again, it is, sorry, there's no www dot anymore. It's now HTTPS, which means that it is a secure site. Once you go on there, you can go and create your account as an MSME, register here, apply for the voucher, log in over there, and you'll get a list of business advising organizations that you can get to help you to find the right service and service provider that you need. That one is very easy to get, and you can get up to $200,000. You can get even patenting support if you've got a great innovation. So the program I work with now at the DBJ is called the Big E program, and I really am excited about this. This is a $25 million project financed by the Inter-American Development Bank. The government has given it to us to provide support for entrepreneurs in various ways. So it's a 5-year program. It ends in March 2025. And during that period, we want to support as many entrepreneurs as we can. So Big E, by the way, means boosting innovation, growth, and entrepreneurship ecosystem. So we're looking at the ecosystem that is the whole system under which entrepreneurs can grow. And so we support all stages. It's not just 25 million to give out to entrepreneurs as a grant. No, we're providing support because sometimes you get the money and you don't know what to do with the money, or you get the money and you don't apply it to the right thing. And those are some of the reasons that businesses fail. So we want to help you at different stages. It's not every company that we're giving support to. You have to be innovation. Remember, I told you Big E means boosting innovation and growth. And so we're looking at different organizations with a high potential for growth, and that does include agricultural products, those with export potential. And remember, it needs to be innovative. We talked about some ways that you can innovate in agriculture. So new products, new developments, export products, absolutely we'll be interested in seeing how we can support you. Biotech, applying biotech to local production. We talked about that in developing a new variety, for example, of yam. Software and IT, agri-tech is very important. We have a company that we're supporting that's an agri-tech company that's supporting, or a couple of them, I should say. We've supported companies in the past that provide automated watchdog systems or systems for you to assess as a farmer how your water flow is going. You know, where does the soil need special injection or fertilizer? That's all agri-tech. We support those companies. There's BPO too, tourism products, of course. You're as an agricultural producer, you're supplying the tourism market. That's considered export, although it's local. Providing import substitutions. These are companies that we're interested in. Life sciences, new medicines coming out of our agricultural production, nutraceuticals. That is big. Light manufacturing, producing and doing some kind of agriculture processing, you know, making a new salt or something of that sort. And of course, other knowledge-intensive business projects and creative projects and so on and so forth. And we usually start off supporting entrepreneurs pretty early. In the tertiary institutions, we have the National Business Model Competition, and we've had Herbo Enterprises, for example, won in 2018, and they were using local agricultural products to create shampoos and nutraceutical in a way, leveraging the properties of our local herbs to create shampoos that are very successful. They're now, they've gotten investment, so no bank loan needed. They got local angel investment and support, and they are now an export company. So that is one way that you get an early start in our process. We support the business model competition going through these various universities, including CASE, participating in this. And we facilitate linkages amongst these budding entrepreneurs, providing them with mentorship. And sometimes they get the attention of financiers. And so we're very, very excited about this program because this is where average people learn to be entrepreneurs and learn the best ways in which to set your business up for success. We provide indirect support to entrepreneurs through incubators and accelerators, as I talked about. We are providing several million Jamaican dollars, about $100,000 to 2 incubators that we are supporting, including the creative sector. Janelle talked about herself as a creative and the importance of supporting the creative sector. We have provided support to Kingston Creative, which is in turn providing support to creatives to get them involved in leveraging technology to improve their businesses. And we also support startups in accessing incubation services. Another thing we're very excited about, in fact, we got the official go-ahead from our board today to launch this, so you'll be hearing a lot more about it, is our sidecar fund. And with this, we provide more money to entrepreneurs who are getting angel investment. Sometimes you can even double the angel investment in this. And this is where you get money into your business to help your business grow without taking on a commercial loan. So this is very exciting. You'll be hearing more about it over the course of the next several months. This is for businesses that already are on the ground, and of course, they can be in agriculture or agri-tech. So we're pretty excited about that. Startups will qualify. I won't go through all of this, but they need to be registered in Jamaica. You need to not be destroying the environment, and that those are very, very important to us. You need to be a small business. So you can't have more than 50 employees. Most small businesses don't have 50 employees. But those are some of the criteria for this sidecar fund. I mentioned the innovation grant from new ideas to entrepreneurship, the Ignite program. We're very excited about this. This is our flagship program right now at the DPJ. We've completed 2 cohorts where we've given up to $7 million in grants that is free money to small businesses. We have our 3rd cohort on the way and planning the 4th one. So we provide, you can develop a project that will help your business to grow exponentially. If you're an innovation-based business, including in agriculture, we've supported quite a number of agricultural businesses. We provide up to 70% of the project's cost to really help you grow and launch. And we've had some great successes. A company not in agriculture, but in ed tech this time, just went IPO, Gordon Swaby and Edufocal. We're very, very proud of Gordon and Edufocal, an innovative business that went through our Ignite program. So in order to be eligible, first thing, you have to have a viable business model. Again, we want to ensure that your business is successful before we put more money into it. You need to have your company registered, and the project needs to be considered innovative. And of course, we want to see you employing people as your business grows. Big money time, the VC fund, the venture capital fund. This is for high growth potential startups that are scalable international, which means that they can grow and grow on the international scene. So Janelle talked earlier about thinking big, and our JIPO expert told us about protecting our ideas as we start thinking about growing our startups with high potential to scale internationally. But yes, we have companies here in agriculture that are scaling internationally. Turner Innovations comes to mind. We have supported them at various stages. They were one of our high growth potential companies I shared earlier that did well in spite of COVID, and now they're scaling internationally in terms of their growth. We are very excited about this fund. It's the first time we're going to be with the sidecar fund and the VC fund investing in small businesses directly, and so we're very excited about this. The VC fund, towards the end of the year, we hope that this will come up, and we will support our startups, including those in agriculture, innovation-based agriculture, and agri-tech. So this is a very busy slide, as some people will say, and essentially it is our various programs that we have on stream and how we currently support or plan to support them. And this is the innovation, the innovator, and the development of an idea, whether it's in a university or not, and the various programs that we have along the stage stages of growth, even up to IPO, that we can support. And again, for more information, please feel free to reach out to us. But one of the easiest ways to find out about, especially the Big E program and how that could impact you as an entrepreneur, is to send an email to info@thinkbigE.com. So BIGEE.com. So info@thinkbigE.com. You can take that down. And of course, I am Natalie Joyne. I'm here at the Development Bank of Jamaica, sitting here in New Kingston, Jamaica, West Indies. So I hope this presentation has been of value to you, and it has been my pleasure. I'm open to your questions when you are ready.
Right, thank you so much. I heard lots of big figures at one stage. I heard millions of US, and I was like, yes.
No, the 25 million is not just for that. It's to do all of the things, but we've cut it into nice little portions to support the entrepreneur in so many different ways.
Yes, and it's all geared towards innovation, encouraging innovation, incentivizing creativity. And that's what it's really about. We have so much talent here, but oftentimes just need a little assistance to that DBJ is on board with us on this innovation mission.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, so we're going to open the floor. I want to thank all of our speakers and our presenters. Yes, I want to invite you back. I want to open the floor. I see some questions in the chat. I want to thank our audience for being so patient as well. But now is the time we want you to be able to ask any question that you may have, or if you want to get any clarification on anything that was raised earlier. I see a question that was typed some time ago in the chat from Ms. Cabell Francis. She's asking the 4-H Club. Is the 4-H Club working with other agro practices such as hydroponics and aquaponics? Was the program also partner with youth organizations around Jamaica? So that is for you, Ms. Carr. Is Ms. Carr there? Ms. Carr, hi. I see you. Yes. Not hearing you though. I see you unmuted, but not hearing you. Not hearing you, not hearing. I see you speaking and unmuted, but not hearing you. I don't know why. Let's see. Don't know what's happening. I don't know why. But Ms. Carr, maybe you can type in the chat if you can. Yes, okay, thank you. Ms. Francis, we'll get the answer from the 4-H Club for you. But thanks for that question, asking about hydroponics and aquaponics, right? Good areas for technology, of course, in agriculture. All right, I see a question from Ms. Young. What period is the agro-processing training done? That I believe is also to 4-H. I think that was from 4-H's presentation earlier this morning, right? So you can answer those two questions from Ms. Carr. And also from Ms. Francis, again, does the 4-H clubs assist with getting funding based on their inventions, right? So that, of course, sounds like a question that could very well be addressed by DBJ, of course, because there's funding based on inventions and innovation. So I don't know if you need to have that question answered again, Ms. Francis, in light of the very clear presentation from the DBJ. But as you see, the DBJ has a range of funding that is available. And as you heard emphasized by Ms. Joyne, grants. She emphasized grants. She said free money, she said. That's her term, not mine, That's available for inventions. And so that can assist you as well, Ms. Francis. Right, okay, so for DBJ, I see Ms. M is also asking for loans that are channeled through financial institutions. Whose criteria does the borrower have to satisfy? Is it the DBJs or the financial institutions?
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Thanks. Okay, thanks for asking that question. The borrower satisfies the DBJ's criteria. But again, I alluded to it, but I just want to clarify that it is the DBJ's criteria, but we also want to make sure that the business is financially strong enough to repay the loan, because we also are responsible. We're responsible to taxpayers, because the money that we're lending is money the country has borrowed. So we want to make sure that we we provide this money. We provide it at concessionary rates, but we do have to ensure that we are being fiscally prudent in terms of how we loan funds. So for that reason, we balance that out with the grant. So if you have high potential, then you can apply for a grant. And that grant should be able to get you up to the stage of loans. And as I mentioned, the new products that we have under the Big E program could help you to get to the stage where your business is growing exponentially, including exporting, without even having to touch a commercial loan product. But sometimes you get to the stage, you're past the small business stage. Hopefully you have grown to that point where you can access loans through the other programs that we have. And by that time, we would hope that you would be financially strong enough that you can show all the historicals and so on that are needed. But until that time, we have grant programs that can help you. And again, they're competitive. So I always say people, when you're applying to DBJ, come hard, come good. But the rewards are there.
Is there like a rolling timeline for applications, or is it a set time per year? Or?
Thank you. Sometimes for some of our products, we're looking at that. For some, we remain with the set time frame. So the Ignite program, for example, right now has a set timeline, and that is just so that we can manage, because we want to help the businesses even as we provide them with money. So we have to monitor them, make sure the projects are going on track, and so on. And otherwise, it would be very difficult for us to manage to providing that full suite support for the entrepreneurs that are involved in the program if we're taking applications at the same time. But eventually, we do want to get to a stage where everything can be rolling. But the voucher program is continuous. There's a continuously open window for that, and I do believe that Serve generally is taking applications now, so that's a great time. For the other projects, that is the sidecar fund and the VC fund that are coming on stream, those will be open all the time just by the nature of those products. But the Ignite remains on a cohort based, and that is so that we can properly administer and support the entrepreneurs through the process.
Okay. Are these loans secured or unsecured, or it varies?
That's also a good question. Thank you. So the DBJ loans, the commercial loans that we work through with the AFIs, the approved financial institutions, they will have to be secured. But I mentioned our credit enhancement facility, whereby we provide this credit guarantee, so this collateral guarantee. So we will, in a way, when the banks ask you for collateral on the phone, even under the regular programs, we will support the collateral. I believe it's up to 80%. To say, hey, we'll back this entrepreneur up to 80% of the money required. So we do provide support for that. Yeah. So in a way, it's a partial loan guarantee.
Okay. All right. Great. Thanks. I see Ms. Carr has answered in the chat some of the questions that were directed to the 4-H clubs. So please, Ms. Francis and Ms. Young, Ms. Carr has typed in the chat her response that they do training in hydroponics and hydroprocessing, and that this is under their technology and fisheries program. They also help purchase the complete applications for loans and help them to choose the best financial institutions based on the need. And they have a roadmap, which I did see earlier on your slides, Scar roadmap. So that can show you the different services or types of assistance that you can get through the 4-H clubs. All right, so the floor is open. Please either type in the chat, or I believe you may be able to unmute and ask your question. Please feel free to, again, ask a question of either the YEA or the 4-H clubs, JIPO, or the DBJ, and we'd be glad to get any further responses from our panelists this morning. So please feel free, the floor is open. You want to ask or say anything concerning today's topic. Of course, we're talking about innovation and transformation, right? We heard from Mrs. Foster Fennell from YE looking at the context of, the struggles sometimes and what it can take to persevere and to succeed, right? And sometimes as young persons, it can seem daunting. You think of a business and starting a business and just the risk involved, and the financial exposure then can be sometimes intimidating, right? So it's important to know where you can get some assistance in the local ecosystem that we have here in Jamaica. And that's why we have brought these experts here today. So if there are no further questions, or while you formulate your question, please don't be shy, we can type, or we can, say, unmute maybe I can ask a few questions myself. So I see a question here in the chat though. Does the DBJ provide funding to existing companies creating new innovative products?
Happy to say the answer is yes.
Okay.
We are begging existing companies with new innovative products to apply for the what we call the IGF, the Innovation Grant Fund. They have to be in existence for about 7 years. So that's because we want to help the medium. There's a challenge for medium-sized companies in particular to dedicate money and time and resources towards innovating new products. So that's a big problem that they have. So that Innovation Grant Fund is for that. But we do have a number of, we have a mandate and we have directives. So over the next 2 to 3 years, we will be looking at providing direct support for entrepreneurs, creating smaller businesses, creating innovative products. But we almost have a definition of small business, innovative small business for all the products of the Big E program. So the Sidecar Fund would do that. The vouchers can give you early stage and of course early stage support, very early stage support. And of course the Ignite program has what we call the ideation window. Now that was something that premiered last year in this cohort that's just on the way now. And that will give you up to $3 million for that. Again, it's competitive, but we had some exciting companies, just from newly formed companies and companies that had been around for a couple of lower number of years, less than 7 definitely, that were applying through that window. So the ideation window in the Ignite program is the major way that we provide for that at this point in time.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. So maybe I can ask Adrienne from JIPO. You know, I heard reference to some of the IP rights. I heard Natalie mentioning the plant breeders' right, and you also had a slide on the plant breeders' right. And we also, of course, at JIPO work with geographical indications, right, which are also very relevant for agricultural produce. So I wanted to ask Adrienne if you could share, you know, with some of our members who are here from the several organizations, some of the distinctions, I think, just to clarify in people's mind, you know, succinctly, difference between plant breeders' right and the geographical indication regime in terms of the relevance for agricultural innovation. In a few words, please.
You're muted. Unmute, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So the geographical indication is basically something that producers can use to essentially move their products outside of the commodity space on the markets and charge a premium for it. Because what the GI does is it signifies that this particular product meets certain rigorous standards. Whereas the plant breeders' rights, that grants the creator of the new plant variety basically the exclusive right to dictate how this plant variety is going to be marketed and commercialized. So that would be one big difference. So whereas the GI tends to be owned by, it's more communal in that the producers associations tend to manage the use of the GI. The plant breeders' rights would typically be an individual or entity. And so they get to dictate how the new plant variety will be used in the marketplace. So that's one big difference.
Yeah, so at present we have a geographical indication law in place already. So that's already available to, you know, producers at present, and we're close to finalizing our plant breeders' rights law. So that will also be available in the very near future to, again, protect, new plant breeders' rights that they have developed for new plant varieties. So it's important as well too. And we've seen in our countries where this industry, in terms of maybe cut plants or particular kinds of fruits or vegetables that are more disease resistant, for example, or that have greater yields from planting, from farming, can be produced and then can be licensed to other countries. This can be a new kind of type of banana or type of jackfruit or pawpaw that you have developed, for example. So these are also important areas that we can look at, not just at the one level of entrepreneurship, but looking at other means of getting profit from IP rights administration. So I see another question in the chat. Does the DBJ have a compact document of all the types of funding for entrepreneurs that can be shared? And I'm not sure if that's what you typed in the chat in response, Natalie. See, type a link up there to the full DBJ program information. All right, that's www.thinkbiggie.com. Thinkbiggie.com is there. So yes, I think that's important as well to know where to find information. I see also that Mrs. Foster Fennell had posted in the chat as well the contact details for the YEA, right, Young Entrepreneurs Association of Jamaica, giving good guidance. She mentioned several services that are available to young entrepreneurs as well to assist you in this, entrepreneurship endeavor. And so that is their contact details as well there, right? And for 4-H Club, I see the roadmap and the link is there as well in the chat. So please, you can find out the nearest 4-H Club location to where you are around the island for more information. Of course, we are here at JIPO to assist you as well when you come to register your brands, your trademarks, your names for your business or your products, your services. You have a new invention, etc. We can assist you to register those. All right, so it's been an interesting morning, and thanks again to our speakers, our presenters. We have to be appreciative of the opportunity to get advice from persons who have been on the journey. And so thank you all to Mrs. Carr from the 4-H Club, to Mrs. Foster Fennell from YEA, Young Entrepreneurs Association, of course, to Adrian from JIPO, and to Natalie from the Development Bank of Jamaica for our Youth Empowerment and Transformation program this morning. Part of IP Week 2022, right? Innovation for a better future. So thanks again, everyone. Look forward to seeing you. Of course, we have our IP Week program continuing tomorrow, right? And so we will be having in the morning a program that is looking at the youth and they look at different ways to animate and create and innovate. And that will be chaired by Mr. Herman Dawson. We'll be hearing from speakers from the World IP Organization, WIPO, as well as from the European Union IP Office, looking at how to ensure that we can be able to break down in easier ways, the importance of intellectual property rights to young persons, and how we can ensure that they can, from a school stage, be able to infuse IP into their creativity. Right? And then in the afternoon, we'll be having a talk show format with young persons from 2 to 3 p.m. Look out, of course, for our JIPO IP Week supplement this Sunday, May 1st, in the Jamaica Observer as well. And I will have, of course, more detail about JIPO and the work that we do to serve you here in Jamaica. All right, thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon. I look forward to seeing you online again tomorrow.